Most people who have 50 to 100 pounds to lose fail whenever they try to lose it. Why is that? I can tell you what it's not. It's not that they're not trying hard enough, it's that they don't have the right plan. The truth is, losing weight takes a lot of work, but when you know what to focus on, it's a whole lot easier, and I know you can do it. I'm breaking down the 3-stage system in a deep dive in this video. This is going to get you results if you're ready to do what it takes. So there's going to be timestamps in this video. Let's lay the groundwork for how this is going to work. The first stage is for some quick weight loss, for some quick wins. You are going to get your fastest progress in this stage. The second stage is all about busting through plateaus using my GAINZ method. That's going to help you get through that first and second really big plateau that I'm sure you've hit before. And number 3, and this is most important, is to help you get your life back and transition into a normal life after you've aggressively lost all this weight. And this time the goal should be to keep it off. Obviously, if you gain it back, what was it all for? I promise you, if you follow the system, you are going to lose weight. You will succeed. And it is shockingly simple. I have also been losing weight and I'm still currently on my weight loss journey. And as you can see, I have already lost my first 50 to 100 pounds. That's actually 100 pounds. Now in that photo, I was already like 40 pounds down, so it might not look as dramatic, but it is my 100-pound weight loss. Okay, so stage 1 is your first and fastest fat loss. There are 9 things in this stage that are going to give you some really quick wins, and it's amazing how fast the results come at first if you're following the correct plan. It can be a lot of fun if it's done right, and so I'm going to tell you what that is. So I'm going to keep bringing up this graphic to help us keep track of the subpoints under the stages, because this is a deep dive. There's a lot here. If you follow the system in its entirety, it is literally going to change your life. But I know it might come across as kind of confusing without this graphic. So under stage 1, there's 9 subpoints. This is the first subpoint, and it's called my step-up system. So you start with your current steps. You have to find your current steps. I use a pedometer that if you just literally look it up on Amazon, Neskla pedometer, but it's just, I'll put up a screenshot of it. It's their most popular pedometer. The thing is super accurate. The reason I like that is because as you take out your phone, and I know that tracks your steps and it tracks it really well. It actually tracks it a lot better than the watches and everything. But if you use your phone, anytime that you're walking and you're using your phone, it won't track those steps. And I think it's important to have an accurate reading, of your steps so you can follow the system. Once you do a week of like normal steps and try to keep it normal. I know you're like probably gung-ho to lose weight, but try to keep your steps normal. I mean, I'm not going to stop you from taking extra steps because that will help your weight loss. But whatever your normal steps are, add 1,000 each week. It's why it's called a step-up system, because as you walk and increase your steps, you're going to be getting, assuming you follow the other parts of the system and you're not overeating, you are going to be getting fat loss. Because if your movement is here and your calories are here and you increase your movement there without accidentally increasing your calories, there's going to be a gap and you are going to lose weight. When I started, I didn't jump into intense workouts. I'm still not doing intense cardio. I just walked. Now I will do, exercise bikes and stuff now just to get a little bit more intensity, the Stairmaster and things like that. But especially at first, just walking is going to be plenty. If you have a lot of weight to lose, it's kind of like your superpower because you are burning so many calories just moving. So just start moving and you're going to get some really fast results. For me, it was all about control, and every step I took made it feel like I was finally in control because I was actively pursuing something. And every day, instead of just waiting on my cardio days, I was able to pursue my goal of a certain number of steps. And that's the key to this point. It's not really steps. It's more about control over your life. And so what should you aim for? I would aim for something around 8 to 10,000 at first. And if that feels like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could get that, that's okay. Wherever you're at, if your normal day is 4,000, just try for 5. You will reach an upper limit, 6, 7, whatever that is. And that's going to be where your steps are going to stay for a while. But as you lose weight and it gets easier, as you focus more on these habits and these habits become a bigger ingrained part of your life, I promise you're going to get more steps than you ever thought possible. But just give it time. Don't beat yourself up too much. So the second sub point under stage 1 is going to be low impact cardio. So I have some options here. I have been nerding out on rope flow. So if you don't have a rope, they're pretty cheap. There is a really good YouTube channel for this. I'll shout him out because I'm going to use some of his footage because he's awesome. Strength Side is one of them. He focuses on some other stuff, but he has rope flow in there. So Strength Side and Tim's Gym. Tim's Gym seems like the go-to YouTube channel in my opinion. I think rope flow is getting big. So I think this could be really fun for you to hop into. Once you learn it, you start to get in this almost like meditative trance and you're not actually jumping rope. So it's very low impact. You are bending your knees, but you don't have to. And the better you get at this and the better your knees get and the stronger your knees get, the more you can put movement into it and the more that you'll just burn calories doing something that's relatively easy. So I think that's awesome. But there's also pool walking. Of course, there's walking, regular old-fashioned walking. And then there's rucking, putting on weight on your back. It could be in a backpack. There's special rucking backpacks on Amazon. There's actually some really good ones. They just have like different like shape to them. It does make a difference. I hate to say that. I wish you could just use a regular backpack, and you can. You can start off with the regular one, but the rucking backpacks, they have extra padding. And then here's the big thing, in my opinion, they have slots specifically for a ruck plate. So a ruck plate will be narrow. It'll be like a weight plate, but it's shaped more like a brick or something. Super dense and obviously pretty heavy. I would start off with 10 pounds. Believe it or not, that's more difficult than it would seem. I use 30 pounds right now. You would think that would be, relatively easy, but it is, you can certainly feel it. But the rucking backpacks will like cinch that plate down so it doesn't wobble a bunch. If you put like a dumbbell in your backpack, it'll sink to the bottom, kind of hit you in the back. But at first, you can just start with some water bottles in a backpack or books or whatever it is. And then once you're like, I really like this, then maybe you can invest. It's not much money if you go to Amazon. But like GoRuck and those companies, they sell rucking backpacks. They probably are super high quality. I can't attest to it because I've never had them. But they're pretty expensive. I mentioned walking as well. Obviously, that's a very low impact form of exercise, but uphill is even lower impact. So I have some clients that they can't, hit the pavement, like literally hit the pavement, very much until their knees or ankles or whatever start hurting. Because I work with very heavy people. That's kind of my specialty. And so I have a lot of them go even slower than they normally walk. Sometimes as slow as like 2.4, 2.5 miles an hour. But because they're going uphill on a treadmill and they're going so far uphill without holding on the handrails, or if they do, they just lightly hold on it, they don't pull on them. It really adds up, gets their heart rate up without the impact of having to go fast. So the third thing under stage 3 is your environment. It is all about your environment. Your kitchen is like a battlefield, and if junk food is the enemy, then your grocery list is by far your best defense. If you win the battle at the store, you won't have to fight it, at least not nearly as hard at home, because the temptation won't be near you. If you have to have some things in your house due to kids or whatever, I have a hack coming up for that has really changed my life. I'm serious. It's not just for the video. So I think it'll really help you. But for now, I'm going to talk about this battlefield at home thing. Whenever the food at the store that is bad is left at the store, it's not up to willpower anymore, and you're not going to be draining your willpower. Willpower has been found, and I think we all kind of know this intuitively. It is a finite resource. You can only be tempted so many times till you run out of that willpower and eventually give in. And so if you don't have to use your willpower in the first place because there's nothing tempting you in your house, it is so much easier to win. And that's why your environment is just so important. If you don't have that food in your house, it's almost impossible to fail because you would have to make the decision to get in the car and drive up to the store. So point number 4 has a lot to do with number 3 under stage 1, and that is to fill your fridge with your favorites. You don't have to fill it with foods that you would think would be healthy. Fruit is far from unhealthy, and for whatever reason, it gets, I guess, because of the sugar, but it's not the same. No one's ever gotten fat off even bananas, which is the worst of the fruit. Show me anyone that's eaten enough bananas that they've gotten, overweight. Typically, a person who is really overweight, they might have 1 or 2 bananas a day. It's not like they're stuffing themselves with bananas and getting overweight. It's all the other stuff. So whether that's, apples or berries or watermelon, those tend to be very high volume foods that don't have a ton of calories for what you're getting because of all the fiber. But whatever it is, put delicious things in your fridge. There's also low fat and non-fat dairy. This is the next point under stage 1, but it kind of, again, these bleed together so much. I just wanted to kind of separate them to talk about them individually. But yogurt, Greek yogurt, put some vanilla extract in it with some berries, and you have a good treat there. So make sure that things that you enjoy, but if you're like, dude, I hate Greek yogurt, then don't do that. The point of this is that you have things that you like. If you love popcorn, a lot of my clients will come to me and be like, well, I know I shouldn't be having popcorn. It's like, you can. It's just the butter that makes it, high calorie, but just plain popcorn. One of the best ones that I find are the Smart Pop. It's the Orville Redenbacher's in a green box. The amount of popcorn you get, I'm not exaggerating. The opening of the bowl is like that big. It's big, way bigger than my head. And it's like that deep. It fills the whole thing, 200 calories. I've counted the kernels that pop. It says 220 on the package. But on average, I know you're probably, like, dude, this guy gets way too into this. And I do, but it's my job. I've counted the kernels that pop, and I would count it as 200 calories per bag. That's amazing. That is so much food. So fill your fridge and your cupboard with things like that. That's kind of 2 points, but you get what I'm saying. Also, to go with this, there's things like, and these are just things you're going to be learning. So you don't have to take all of this in at once. You can rewatch this video. You can save it for later. But there's PB Fit, there's that sugar-free Jello mix that you can mix in with yogurt or whatever, and it makes this delicious pudding. You can find recipes on Instagram, which, by the way, I don't know if I talk about this at some point in my script here, but my recipe book. You might really enjoy that. It is link in the description, first pinned comment, totally free, and has tons of high volume recipes. Now, that's not really what I'm talking about here with this Jello pudding and everything, but sugar-free Jello, things like that are where you are going to slowly discover, oh, I really like this thing, and it helps me with my temptation. Diet soda. If you have a sweet tooth, don't be afraid of diet soda. It is not going to hurt you. Studies show that it is more effective even than water. I hate to admit that, but it is. It's more effective than water at helping a person lose weight. And it makes sense because it satisfies us. You could even get like Oreo Thins. Now you might have to lock those up, which I'm getting to that in a second. But you could put that on top of your Greek yogurt with PB Fit. Now you have like a peanut butter Oreo, like kind of high protein thing that, a couple Oreo Thins, what is that? 50 calories? You put that on top and you have a delicious like pudding thing. The next point under stage 1, I don't even know what point this is anymore, I've kind of lost track, is to fill your pantry with protein snacks. So be intentional about this. Protein chips, they're kind of expensive, but they are a big win. If you take ground turkey or really lean ground beef, season it with taco meat, and you have protein chips, you have a super protein nacho snack. That's amazing. I already mentioned a Smart Pop popcorn. That's not a protein thing, but that is very filling in terms of how much space it takes up. And then protein bars, beef jerky sticks or just beef jerky. The sticks usually are higher fat. It's more like sausage, but beef jerky, and just take the time to apply yourself. And I'm not saying maybe you do this, all at once. It's just don't be discouraged if it feels like there's a lot to learn, because as you learn, you're going to be getting better and better and better, and you're going to make this happen this time. Okay, now the thing I was hinting at, if you do not have the ability to just leave all that food at the store, you have family at home or something like that, you can't really expect them to all of a sudden start eating like you, is a pantry lockbox. They're really cheap. Well, I shouldn't say really cheap. I guess they are nowadays to today's standards. That's 20, 30 bucks, 25 bucks, something like that on Amazon. Just a pantry, a plastic lockbox. My wife has the code. The only thing that I can't control myself around is peanut butter, like actual, just like not PB Fit, but regular peanut butter. It is so good. And I can't. I'll even put it on like protein bars and stuff when I need, fat in my diet or whatever. If I'm low on calories that day, then that's a great way of getting a lot of calories. But that's the problem, is it has a lot of calories. So if you overeat on it, then it can be an issue for losing weight. All right, the next point under this one, and this one is huge, is to cut liquid calories. Just literally try to cut them out. I remember whenever I was young, I don't remember what age I was. I was like 9 or 10. I was very overweight. I was obese whenever I was young. And I started playing football, and I had to cut weight in order to make the football team. There was a certain weight that I had to be in order to like actually be able to play. It wasn't just like, get in better shape and you can make the team. Everyone made the team. I literally wasn't allowed to play. That's how big I was. So all we did was cut out soda. I just didn't drink soda. And that one switch, I didn't, I was a kid. I wasn't focused on exercising more, eating healthy, or any of that. I lost a lot of weight. So at least for a while, cut out alcohol. That is going to help you so much. What an opportunity. If you drink a lot of alcohol, or at least like a moderate, let's say you drink once or twice a week, this is going to be a huge opportunity for you. Just for a while, cut it out, see what happens. Juice, soda, ideally you wouldn't even drink protein shakes. As cool as protein shakes are, they just don't fill you up very much. Just see what it's like to not consume any of your calories through liquid, and I think you're going to see that it's really going to help you. Protein shakes are a really big part of your diet. Then replace the milk with either almond milk or Fairlife milk, because it's just higher in protein, or just the almond milk just straight up a lot lower in calories, and that'll help as well. And just a reminder that those tips that we just went over, those are going to be quick wins. So that's going to give you rapid progress. And I think I might have mentioned what I'm talking about here as one of the points. So there might have only ended up being 8 points, or even 7 points if the lockbox doesn't really count. Either way, these things are stage 1. It is the low-hanging fruit, no pun intended on what we're talking about with diet and everything. It's the low-hanging fruit that is going to get you super fast results. Okay, so now we're moving on to the second stage. So this I call my GAINZ method, GAINZ. So number 1, we talked about this a little bit, but this is going to be even more important in stage 2, because the weight loss is going to be harder to come by. And remember, this is about busting through plateaus, and this is about making sure that it keeps going. That's a common thing that happens whenever a person starts. They lose a bunch of weight to begin with, it slows down, and then they either fall off or they get discouraged or whatever. So this is about fighting that off. So the G in GAINZ is about getting enough protein. I used to focus solely on calories. Every time I would do that, and yo-yo diet and gain the weight back and everything, I would lose a lot of weight, and I think a lot of it was muscle because I never had any shape. I never had, anything that I started to enjoy seeing. A couple of years ago, whenever I started this most recent journey on losing weight, I really liked what I saw a lot sooner. And it was crazy that I was looking better at a higher weight, and that was because I was focused on the protein. So getting enough protein does a couple things. It retains your muscle mass. It increases the thermogenic effect of food, the thermic effect of food, which is going to help you burn calories just by simply what you're eating. So it's free calorie burn. It's going to increase your basal metabolic rate because you're going to have more lean tissue. You're going to have more muscle. Muscle is very inefficient. It's very thermic in terms of what it burns. And so, fat just kind of sits there. It hardly burns any calories just sitting there. But muscle takes energy to maintain and to keep on your body. So this leads to progress from both sides. You're losing extra weight because you are burning more calories by eating more protein. And you're also retaining and building muscle, which helps you burn more calories. And you start to add that shape because you keep and, again, build muscle. So you're looking better under the fat while losing the fat. And this is a real super win. The A in GAINZ is activating your muscle through strength training. Imagine two people. Both walk every day. The other adds push-ups and squats to their walk. A month later, the second person is stronger, burning more calories, and noticing stuff beneath the fat. They start liking their shape. The difference was strength training, and it doesn't have to be a gym. You could use body weight. You could use the rings that I've talked about in some of my past videos, Olympic rings. I think those are the easiest and cheapest way of getting something to hang from, a beam in the basement or whatever, where you can do all sorts of exercises to work out your muscles. Your weight is your advantage right now. Just like earlier, whenever I said that as you're walking, you're burning more calories, you also have more weight to lift with your body weight. So you could use that, and you could certainly build muscle right now with the weight that is on your body. Strength training also improves your BMR because, just like the protein, it helps build muscle and helps you retain muscle, and it increases your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, non-NEAT or non-exercise activity thermogenesis is like walking, fidgeting, talking with your hands, things like that. Anything that's, not intentional exercise. But if you have more muscle, you burn more calories doing those activities because, again, muscle is very inefficient and takes energy in order to maintain. So just you doing normal things, that's what leads to you burning more calories. I think an underrated aspect of having more muscle is that it gives you something to aim for. You're aiming for progress in the gym. You're aiming for higher weights or more reps or whatever. Instead of just the number on the scale, it gives you something else that you can have wins with, and it just really helps mentally. The I in GAINZ is improve sleep quality. Your sleep is so important. It is probably underrated and probably under talked about from what I've seen on the fitness space and YouTube. So I've been having to, my daughter is 3, she's going through a nightmare phase and being scared of being alone and everything in the dark. I've been having to sleep on the floor of my daughter's room. A lot of times whenever I go in there, and that's just been like the last, 3-4 weeks. Whenever I go in there, sometimes I forget my charger and I'm already on the floor and I'm tired and I'm falling asleep. So I won't worry about it. And the next day I wake up, my phone isn't charged. Think of sleep like charging your phone. If you skip a night, you're running on 20%. You're sluggish, you're weak, you're craving a quick energy boost. It's usually going to be in the form of junk food or sugar. Getting good sleep balances your hormones, reduces cravings, helps you support recovery, which is going to increase your muscle mass and keep more muscle. And all that stuff we just talked about with muscle is going to be even more true. It also improves your willpower, although we're trying not to aim to use that willpower. You are going to have to use it at some point. And so it improves your ability. I mean, studies have shown this, that we have the ability to fight off temptations way better whenever we feel rested. The N in GAINZ is nurture your patience. And I know that sounds kind of lame, but seriously, this is a long road. Follow the 2-week rule. If progress stalls, wait 2 weeks before making any changes. And I know it can feel like I want to make something happen now. I'm afraid it's not, but you have plenty of time. The years are going to pass no matter what. This is going to happen faster than it feels like. If you wake up every single day and look in the mirror at your hair, you're going to feel like it's never growing. Why is my hair not growing? Because you look so closely at it every day. But if you ignore that and you just go about your day and you try not to even pay attention to your hair, all of a sudden you're like, gosh, I need a haircut. My hair's gotten so long, because you haven't been hyper fixated on it. So get patient with this. I promise this happens faster than you think if you just understand that this is going to be a process. It's going to be a long road. You probably already know that. So by being a little bit more patient, it is going to help so much, I'm telling you. After you wait 2 weeks, if progress has stalled, oftentimes you'll see that it wasn't a stall, but in the background, you actually were losing weight. My clients, a lot of times they'll be flat and I'll tell them, hey, trust the process, trust the system. And then all of a sudden they'll see this big dip And I'll tell them, hey, it's not that you did extra good this week. It's that in the background, you truly were just losing weight the whole time. And the real weight was kind of expressing itself on the scale. So it looks like you have extra fast results when in reality, you were just slow and steady the entire time. It was just that you were holding extra water or whatever. This kind of reminds me of my indoor plants. I kind of nerd out on, that's a real plant. I've grown that for years. That's a money tree. There's plants around here that are huge. I mean, I think they're pretty big. And it kind of reminds me of that. The first year in general, they're growing roots. So they're almost never really like expressing growth. And then they'll grow really slowly the second year. And then the third year, they will show their growth. So in the indoor plant world, they call it grow, slow, and then show. And that's kind of what's happening in the background of your weight loss is you're building these habits. You're building the foundation. I promise, trust the system. You're going to make it. If you stick with it and you're patient, all of a sudden it's just going to take off. And that is you coming to fruition, all these habits and all this time and all this energy and effort and blood, sweat, and tears that you have put into this. So the Z in GAINZ is to zero in on fat loss and not just weight loss. Let me explain. I had a client that came to me that literally just cared about the number on the scale. I tried to get to like why, the deeper reason of why she wanted to lose weight. And she literally just always brought up the scale. No matter how hard I tried, she crash dieted because she wanted that number to go down. I would try to convince her that this is not the way. And sometimes as a trainer, you just got to do what your client wants. But I knew that this wasn't going to end very well. And I told her that, it's hard to like tell that to a person, like this isn't going to end well, because I didn't want to sound like I wasn't supporting her. But at the same time, I knew it just wasn't going to go good. She lost a ton of weight. I remember she lost like 50 pounds in maybe like 3 months or something like that. That is not to be expected. Please do not expect that. Don't try to do that. She literally, I'm not exaggerating. You probably think I'm making this up for the video. I am not. She literally gained it back in a 4 to 6 week span that she was on vacation. Now, that's a really long vacation. She's retired. She went to Europe and was there for like, I think a month. I think it was 4 weeks. And she literally gained it all back. She didn't contact me for 2 weeks from coming back because I never confirmed this, but I think because she was so embarrassed how much she gained back. She ended up gaining a little bit more than whenever she started with me. Now we restarted and she was much smarter the second time around. And she's almost now it's a lot longer, it's been like a year, but she's almost back to that point. The point being where she left and gained it all back. So she's almost back to where she should be, this time taking a year to do the same thing. That's about a pound of weight loss a week. Now, you don't have to wait that long. It's just for her, I really didn't want to rush it. Doing the things we've talked about thus far leads to fat loss, not just weight loss. And that's what you want. You want the fat loss. You're going to have better shape to you. You're going to be in better shape because your muscle is going to be able to carry you and do things for you. I'm telling you, you don't just want to lose the weight. You don't want that number on the scale to go down super fast. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more energetic. You're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel more capable of helping a friend with, a piece of furniture or whatever. It's all going to be good. Having more muscle also improves longevity. There's studies that show that more muscle mass improves how long a person improves the ability of a person to live long. There is actually a, disease that is referred to as wasting, but it's basically the absence of anything. Like there's no heart disease, there's no cancer. This person just died of wasting, meaning they almost shriveled up, for lack of a better term, but they lost their muscle mass and their heart eventually just gives out. Your BMR is going to be a lot higher, so you're going to be able to eat a lot more calories. And I'm telling you, 100% of the time, if a person's able to eat more and still lose the same amount of weight, instead of, okay, I can eat this much, and now I'm going to lose extra weight, you increase your calories so that you lose the same amount of weight as if you had less muscle. That's a win because you're going to be able to eat more. You're going to enjoy the entire process of it. You're never going to feel like you're dieting because you're having to eat so much. So this is just so key. Obviously, you're going to be much more attractive. You're going to have shape to you instead of just looking small. It may be slower, but it is far more valuable. And that's what I want you to kind of hone in on is the weight whenever you lose fat. If you lose 1 pound of fat or someone loses 2 pounds, 1 pound being fat and 1 pound being muscle, the person who just lost that fat, they're in a better position. They're in a far more valuable position. Real quick, I want to guide you on how to pick your starting weight loss. So I have some notes written down here. It doesn't really matter. You just adjust based off whatever you were eating. So I would start by multiplying your body weight by 10. You can just start with that. If the weight loss is super fast, add some calories. If the weight loss isn't really happening, then you subtract out some calories. So if you're not losing weight at all, I would subtract out like 300 calories or increase steps or maybe both. It wouldn't hurt to do both. If you're losing, just keep going and see, how it does after 2 weeks, and then make adjustments after 2 weeks, as we talked about earlier in the video. If you're losing after those 2 weeks, you're still losing, but you're not losing like fast enough. You're like, well, I'm losing like half a pound a week or 3/4 of a pound a week. It's hard to tell if I'm losing a pound a week. Then subtract out 150 calories, wait another week, and then continue to repeat. You don't want to do that too much. You can only slash your calories so many times. So you're going to want to focus on, again, building muscle. That's the weight training and eating enough protein, and increasing your steps or your cardio. Now, I wouldn't increase high intensity cardio. If you love high intensity cardio, go ahead and do it. But I wouldn't increase that. I would just increase your uphill walking, or better yet, just increase your steps and lower your calories by a little bit, and you're going to be fine. If you need to, if you're really struggling, you feel like you've done all this, then leave a comment in the video, and I'll do my best to help you in future videos. Leave comments in my future videos, and I try my best. If a person reaches out to me with true desire to be helped, I try my best to help you. Okay, so stage 3 is all about getting your life back and keeping the weight off. It is so key, and I'm sure we've all been there. It's actually relatively easy to lose weight. It's hard to keep it off. So the first part of this stage is going to be to set performance goals. You no longer are focused on the scale. You can take your weight to make sure that nothing's getting out of hand, or you might even want to be building muscle and slowly increasing in weight. But set performance goals. It's no longer about weight. I remember my first pull-up. It felt weird bringing my body like up to the bar, seeing my face go up to the bar. And if you're watching this, and for whatever reason, I don't know why you'd still be watching right now, but if you have been able to do pull-ups and you haven't been a fat person that has never been able to do a single pull-up, it felt so good. And it is about that performance increase. That's what really starts to feel good. It's not just the weight loss in the mirror. You're not doing it for anyone else. It's that it was fun and exciting. Even when the scale is slow, your performance often isn't. So this is things like, strength training and doing more reps of push-ups or pull-ups. You could also do like running goals if you want to do a marathon or a triathlon or Ironman or something like that. There's all kinds of things, swimming goals. Things, time or strength. This is where calisthenics really shines, and I'm trying to get better at this, trying to do this. I need to lose more weight and gain more muscle, and it's a long process. But with calisthenics, if you want to do like a front lever, you can look up a front lever if you want. I'll try to put a picture of it. But as you lose weight, it becomes easier to do that front lever. But then you also have to gain strength, and as you get stronger, it becomes easier to do that front lever. So all of a sudden, you're attacking it from both sides, and you get better at this skill. You could do a like half, handstand against a wall or something, and then eventually improve your skill to do an actual handstand. That takes great shoulder strength, but also if you're, really heavy in the belly, it's going to be hard to do. So it's just fun to attack these skills from all these different angles. Either way, you want goals beyond the scale. So think, what is that for you? What excites you? I can't give you goals that you're going to, really enjoy. A lot of people tend to gravitate towards getting stronger. And so that might be a place to start. But you might find, I want to get better at pickleball, or I want to get faster at swimming, or I want to be able to, go on vacation with my family and walk around, whatever, something to perform and move. The next part of stage 3 is going to be lifestyle integration. So this is outside of the gym. So far, we've been really focused on the gym, steps, walking, diet in the kitchen, things like that. And now, of course, we're getting to that performance-related stuff, but lifestyle integration. I have a client who said he wants to start just being an active life, just having an active life, and making it a part of his lifestyle, going with his kids, playing in the sprinkler, things like that. He is going to win. That attitude is, I could tell right away, okay, this is a winner. This guy's going to make it. These are things like hiking, going on walks with family. These are things outside of your intention of getting healthier. Now, to get healthier enhances your ability to do these things. So, playing with family outside or whatever. These are things like sports. If you wanted to get into flag football with your family, you wanted to do a Thanksgiving football game with your family, or you wanted to start getting into a rec league. Now, this still could be movement and steps, but it's not so much steps for the number of steps, but it's steps for like, I just like moving. I parked in the back of the parking lot because I enjoy walking a little bit further and not having to fight over that front row spot that everyone's all uptight about. And it is kind of fun just to be more fit than others. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe this is proud and I shouldn't be this way, but it is kind of fun to think like, I'm parking in the back of the parking lot because I'm physically capable and willing to walk this far. A lot of times, if you start parking in the back of the parking lot a lot, you'll notice that you pass up the people that were fighting over those first spots. And it's a good feeling. The third part of stage 3 is going to be managing your stress. These are things like getting good sleep, reducing screen time, blue light blocking glasses. This all kind of goes with sleep right now. But enjoyment time, this is finding a hobby that really allows you to relax and just forget maybe the stresses at work, that could be reading, even video games or anything. I mean, there's been studies that have shown the benefits of video games if a person doesn't, take it too far and do it too much. This is with anything, if your thing is watching TV, don't watch too much TV. But you need some sort of relaxation period. Be intentional with this. In stage 3, you want to enjoy your life and use your fitness. But you don't want to just be focused on fitness. With that said, exercise helps a lot. So if your hobby is a fitness hobby, such as rock climbing or pickleball, then go ahead and do that. I'm not saying it has to be a lazy hobby, but I'm saying find something that just helps you really reduce your stress. Let's talk about supplements real quick. This is part of stage 3 because results are going to be hard to come by at this point. Performance results and everything. More fat loss results if you're really looking to get lean and show off your 6-pack or something like that. So you might need a little bit of boost. Protein powder at this stage, I think, is a total common sense move. It's going to help you get more protein, and you can take it after your workouts or whatever. Creatine is huge. It puts water in your muscles, makes you look more jacked, but also improves performance, makes you stronger. Multivitamins, if you get a really diverse diet of fruits and vegetables, you probably don't need it, but I take one, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I've also discovered Ajuga turkesta, or turkestrone is what, some have called it. I get the Ajuga turkesta from, just do your best to spell that. I'll put it on screen. But I get that from bulk supplements, and I have tested turkestrone, which is much more expensive, and I have tested this stuff. The powder tastes horrible. I mean, bad. Seriously, take my word for it. It's bad. But I just dry scoop it and get over it, and it is it works. But that stuff really does make you stronger. I usually go into taking supplements not really thinking they're going to work. I'm kind of the opposite of placebo. It's almost like I want it to not work so I don't have to pay for it. And I've tested this back and forth multiple times. This stuff really works. I think it is just as effective as creatine. Kind of gets you amped up as well. Not like jittery amped up. I can't describe it. It just really motivates you to work out. So it's like a pre-workout almost. This part is huge. I should have mentioned that stage 3 isn't like you've made it and you're just trying to maintain. It could be that you're so deep in your fat loss journey that you need to take a little bit of a break and then continue it, maybe the last 10 pounds or last 20 pounds or whatever. So diet breaks are huge. And I find that I don't think I've ever had a client that has come to me and has been excited whenever I've mentioned the diet break. Diet breaks are so useful. It's going to prevent burnout. It's going to help reset your metabolic adaptation. It is just such a huge win. It's just fun. Using your new fitness, eating a little bit more, not being suffering, and maintaining instead of going back up like you might have always done in the past. It is just a whole lot of fun. And you're going to hit a turning point, whether now or if you keep pushing, at some point you're going to go back up. No one ever loses weight without going back up unless they hit some sort of maintenance, which makes sense. You lose weight and now I'm here forever. But if you keep on trying to diet past that, you are going to go up. Now, I'm not saying that you can't maintain and then start back up. And that is the real key. Kind of goes back to that patience thing. All right, so let's recap real quick. I'm going to be reading off my phone because I want you to have a summary here. So stage 1 is your first and your fastest fat loss win. So you're going to set the foundation by moving more, making smarter food choices, and eliminating sneaky liquid calories. So that's going to be getting you quick results. The GAINZ method helps you push through that stage 2. That helps you push through those plateaus. It kind of steps up your habits and helps you to, we're focusing on getting enough protein, strength training, and improving your sleep. That's what's really going to help you push that next level. You're either going to have to take a little bit of a break, including a diet break, and increase your patience in stage 3, or you've made it and at some point you're going to have made your goal. And so now you want to focus on performance goals, movement goals, lifestyle integration, and maintaining that to get your life back. Because dieting is something that is, quite difficult to do for too long of a period. You don't want to be doing that your whole life. So now during this entire process, if you want to know how to actually adjust these things so that your progress keeps going, then watch this video right here. I call it my dial system. It's what I use for all my clients.